Even recording is in progress. Well, welcome everybody to the fourth event of Project A4EUS, organized virtually in Tirana. Behind me, you can see a really nice overview about the city, where we wish to come back one day when will be possible, and to organize event in person, also to meet each other. Well, I want to really thank all the staff from the Albanian partner, Luisa, and all the speakers that now are going to animate this event. We have now, the number of participants is increasing, so we are really happy about that. And now I give the floor to the host partner of the event, Luisa, for the welcoming presentation. Luisa, the floor is yours. I'm giving you the role of presenter, so you can act on behalf. Luisa, the floor is yours. Luisa?
Okay. Again, good morning, everyone. I am very happy to be here today together with all of you to develop this virtual meeting on an important issue as immigration and solidarity needed about it. For the possibility of this event, I want to make a special thanks to the panelists of the public session who accepted my invitation to present their full knowledge, information, and experience together with us. Thank you, Mr. Pablo Zapata, representative in Albania. His extensive experience in countries like Syria, as you know from his short bio, will be very useful for us today. Thank you, Dr. Yoniada Bariaba, a very good connoisseur of the issues of immigration and those of integration. Thank you, Dr. Eldisa Sirogu, expert of immigration issues. Thank you, Claudia Hassanlari, Directory of Diaspora in Albanian government. I want to thank all the participants in this event registration, because without you it's not necessary, not important, this event. I want to thank Daniele for your help and collaboration with me in this condition of period of COVID for me. And I want to say that this topic is important because it's in coherence with the objective of the project action for Europe for Solidarity, but is in an important moment for Albania because you are 30 years after the big dramatic exodus of Albanian people, where in March 1991, where the solidarity demonstrated from Italian people and other countries have been miraculous, and this is a good example to build our politics about this process of emigration in Albania, but in this moment where even Albania is a country where have possibility to accept and to refugees, asylants, and migration. All panelists are experienced to do the better for this topic. After I save the time, we will send in chat some links about the videos from this big exodus, and to have possibility to demonstrate. Now the floor is for you. Thank you for helping me because I don't speak too long. Daniela, to
Thank you
do
very
the
much. Yes.
presentation.
Thank you very much, Luisa. Thank you for all your great effort in organizing this event, even in force of the not easy situation, international situation. So thank you very much, Luisa, for all your great work, for the great work done to organize this event. So before to introduce the speakers, just let me introduce briefly our project. The project of Reus, as some of the participants, some of you already know because they have already participated in the previous event, is a project aimed to raise and to foster the perception and the attention of the public, of the white public, on some specific issues related to the immigration. Immigrations considered from a general point of view. So we consider immigration from the people who goes abroad, or also in the case of Albania, but even the point of view of the countries that welcome the immigrants. Moreover, we have focused also on the refugees aspect of the international mobility. The project involves 18 partners, and what we are trying to do, virtually of course, is to analyze and focus on the peculiarity of each country. So each country that organize an event try to highlight, to put to describe, to tell about the peculiarity of the country, of the immigrants, refugees situations. In this case, the case of Albania, I already said by Luisa, we are talking about the diaspora, no? The movement of several thousand of Albanians, mainly to Italy 30 years ago, and now instead there is a home back, if we can say that. So what we are trying to do with this project is raise the awareness of the public, of the people that usually are not involved or not so interested on the thematic related to immigration. And this is not a project against or for something. We just want to try to analyze the issues of immigration from a neutral and we can say clear point of view, without any mystification, without any political point of view. Try to describe the real situation. Now let me show you our website, that is a sort of repository of the project where you can find all the activity that we have done, that we are doing, and that will will do. The partner organization, I already said, Focus Europe is the lead applicant of the project, and then we have, you can see on the screen, several partners from different countries: Italy, Macedonia, Montenegro, Spain, Bulgaria, Italy, Malta, Greece, Serbia, Estonia, Belgium, Poland, two from Poland, Albania, and Italy. And each of these partners have already organized, or they are going to organize an event, talking about the peculiarity of the country. These are the events that are actually, this is the fourth event, but now we have already organized a fifth event, so this should be the sixth, but because in force of the problems related to the coronavirus, the event was postponed. Some of you participated also to the at the event held event in Greece 2 days ago, and this is, even if we call it fourth event, is the sixth event, but we maintain the same order to not create confusion from the partners. This is the fourth event organized 1 week later than another one. What we do? Only events? No, we don't. We are trying, even because we are organizing the event virtually, we are trying to conduct also interim activities. We started with a new survey translated in each language, represented by the partners of the project, a survey aiming to detect the perception of the citizens about the immigration. We achieved more than 1,000 participants of the survey, so we are very happy, and we are now to prepare some other extra activities, such as we display some of these in the video. So we are trying to collect all the videos to allow the participant to try to have a virtual experience of the visit, that if the project were physically, they had the chance to visit directly the situation that we try to describe now through the video. Moreover, some partners are willing are organizing some video interviews that are these activities is in progress. Some videos interviews in refugees center, especially I'm talking about the Montenegro partners, and then we see what we can do also with the other partners. So this is a project characterized by events, but we try also to organize interim activities. So if you have an idea, we can support that. We can support you. We can discuss with you, and we can try to see if it's possible to organize together with the project A4EUS. We have also, of course, the Facebook page, where I invite you to follow us, to put like, and we have an Instagram account. And then all the information are gathered also in Focus Europe website. This is the general overview of the project. I'm Daniele Gizzi. Some of you know me very well because I read with email. I sent you several email. No, I'm sorry for that. I'm the project manager of the project. This is the list of the event, the upcoming events. So you can see the next event will take place in Bulgaria on 25 of March. And then we have already scheduled, but not for the moment, we don't have the official save the date in April, when we should have at least 2 events in Spain and in Poland. And then maybe we can organize something, maybe we are able to organize another event. Say that, I'm now giving the floor to Eldisa Cirogu. Just let me briefly give me the chance to Eldisa Cirogu is you can see, I can stop sharing. Just let me introduce her. She has a PhD in political studies with the doctoral research project, the development of strategy for the prevention and transformation of international conflict according to the transcendent methods at the Sapienza University of Rome, Faculty of Political Science, Sociology and Communication. So the city where I'm now, from where I'm speaking now, Rome. She holds a master's degree in international relations and a bachelor's degree in political science from the same university. Her expertise, research activities, and publication focus on current issues of the EU integration process, circular migration, asylum seekers and refugees, conflict studies, peace research, project writing, and media relations. She has been involved as project coordinator in Get Start. Challenges always come before solution. A project Erasmus KA2, strategic partnership for adult education. She also been involved as researchers in collaboration with Professor Sandro Guerrini in the project from Maastricht to the reaction of the treaty that adopts a constitution for Europe, resistance and obstacle in the construction of political Europe. She works as project specialist for public bodies and the private sector. So my compliment for the CV. And now I think that the only thing that I can do is give you the floor. Thank you, Eldita.
Thank you very much, Daniele, for the introduction. Well, I don't believe that I have done so many things well in the end. Well, I feel very honored to participate in this panel for the special reason that migration has been, let's say, the major topic of my research. Well, started from, let's say, a personal interest in studying the migration because myself, I have been for 12 years a migrant, and I have been part of Diaspora, and especially I have been a circular migrant. So the theme that I would like also to treat today. And so starting from this personal interest and trying to understand if at the end all the phenomena of actual world should move towards a Europe that should, according to me, should not be despaired, but be prepared for phenomena like migration that are old as the world is. So anyway, the presentation that I'd like to follow today is how the integration of Albanian diaspora has been and should be used as a tool for improving the integration of policies of migrants in Albania. We all know that the migration in Albania is identified in 3 stages. The first stage is before 1944. The second one is the period of 45-90, actually the later diaspora, but mainly it is related with the Albanians from the former Yugoslavia, and the great wave actually of migration after the fall of communism after 90s. It is studied, and that in this period actually 1/4 of Albanian moved from the country outside, with mainly country of interest like Italy, Greece, and further on other countries of Europe like England, and outside Europe as well, USA and Canada. All this actually this phenomenon had made me understand that if migration is actually a physiological phenomenon, how governments and international organizations can use this phenomenon as long-term investment. Well, the global international migration has undergone actually through transformation in the last decade. And one of the main elements, actually, it has been the circular migration between nations. And I would like to emphasize that migration, the circular migration especially, should be considered and as a triple win scenario. And in the moment that all the governments and the international organization and the civil society could project all the activities towards this goal and this result, I think that we can help in providing policies that should not be so an obstacle towards this physiological phenomenon that actually nobody has and no government has had the possibility and the ability to stop. But when it has been tried to go through actually this type of approach, it has shown that the problematics have been more than the solutions. So, but what does it mean, a triple win scenario? It means that the circular migration can provide benefits for the host country, for the home country, and for the migrants themselves. According to the International Organization of Migration, the definition of circular migration is actually the temporary and repetitive movement of a migrant worker between home and host areas. But actually, to be considered a standard circular migration should be involved 6 criteria: to be temporary, to be renewable, to have the circularity criteria, to be legal, to respect the migrant rights, and the last but not least, to be managed so to optimize the labor markets for both origin and destination countries. There are several benefits associated with the migration pattern. In that way, we can gain financial capital, human capital, but as well social capital. And when I come to the Albanian case, I understand that, and I have tried to read and study a lot of research, and the whole have demonstrated that remittances from Albania immigration are a clear example of an opportunity that has not been tapped into adequately measures for the economical and social development of the country. Because until 2007, the remittances trend were as equal as 20% of our gross domestic product. So as well, equal of more than 5 times the foreign investments in Albania. And the remittances have played a significant role in the reduction of poverty in the country. And it has been also the key factor influencing for all the Albanian economy during the transition. But the fact that we have not been able as a country to build up sustainable policies to return these remittances in long-term investments has, let's say, penalized a little bit, because I want to be optimist and say a little bit, because actually the financial damage, according to me, is really high, because all the trends of migration shows that there is a break even when remittances have not anymore a trending upwards, but the contrary. And this break even actually in Albania came in 2010, and the trends in fact has become lower, and because it's normal, the new generations of migrants in all of Albanian migrants in all the countries has started to build up their lives in the countries of the destination, most of them. So the remittances has not been from 2010 with the same trend that it is compared with the years before. So we have had the chance till 2010 to use this great potential economical driver, and to have had the chance that all the remittances should have been in financial investments for much longer. But anyway, the investment of Albanian has of Albanian diaspora, but also the return migrants, so the ones that are included in the circle migration, as I explained, are not only financial. We are, everybody, I believe, can be the, let's say, affected and have seen how migration can build knowledge and also not only economical resources for the home country, but as well can give all the know-how that the diaspora has gained in the destinator in the host country and to transfer there in the origin country. As well, the social network has been really, let's say, a driver that has transformed migrants in innovators and collective development agents as a result of course, resources and know-how acquired abroad to transfer them to the homeland. And the Ministry of Diaspora has been really active on trying to build up policies to connect diaspora with Albania in several channels. So I would like to conclude my presentation with a reflection. So diaspora is related to the maturity of migration. And the analysis of the current situation shows that Albanian diaspora is very dynamic. And the Albanian diaspora, especially the young generation, are well educated and willing to keep in touch with the countries of origin. So if we are able as country to develop the best practices of other countries that have tried to use the best of diaspora, I believe that we are still in time to absorb the best of the triple win scenario. So the migration is should be not considered as a loss, a lose for the origin country or as a cost for the destination. But I would like to emphasize the triple win scenario because the human movement is a historical, old, and physiological phenomenon. We should only try to get the best in financial in the financial overview, but also in the social and as well in the know-how and in the best practice that from the diaspora and for the migration can come for the destination and the origin countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Luisa. If are there any question or curiosity, you can please write directly in the chat. I invite the participant to do that. I just give you an overview about the participant now. We are 33 participants connected, so we are quite happy. We are very, very happy. Thank you, Eldisa. I have the pleasure now to give the floor to Mr. Pablo Zapata, that I see online, giving him the role of presenter if he has a presentation. And just let me introduce him. Pablo Andreas Zapata Olivares has served with the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees since 1998. He is the High Commissioner representative in Albania since 2017. Mr. Zapata served in United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Syria as senior cluster coordinator between the 2015 and 2017. Where he coordinated the interagency protection sector composed of the United Nations agencies, international and national NGOs working to address the protection needs of those affected by the conflict. Between the 2010 and 2014, He led respectively the resettlement and the protection team of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Ecuador as a resettlement officer and then senior protection officer addressing challenges faced by over 40,000 refugees. In 2009, he completed a short assignment in Kenya in the final stage of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, engagement in international displacement, and then in Costa Rica, where he coordinated the regional resettlement of refugees. Between the 2004 and 2008, he served always in the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Spain as protection officer, where he supports efforts to address the challenges posed by a mixed flow of refugees and migrants. Between 1999 and the 2003, he worked in Albania in the final stage of the Kosovo refugees crisis and then supporting the setting of the nascent asylum system. He started his humanitarian career with the United Nations Commission for Refugees in Rwanda in 1998, monitoring the situation of repatriated persons and situation of refugees in Kiziba camp. Pablo is has a dual citizen of Spain and Chile. He earned his law degree at the Catholic University of Chile and his attorney accreditation by the Chilean Supreme Court. Before joining the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, he worked in business consultancy in Chile. So thank you for your participation, even my compliment for your long experience and distinguished experience you have done and for all your work that you are doing. So, Mr. Zapata, it's an honor for us, host you, and this is and now the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation and for this opportunity to share with quite a wide range of participants some thoughts about the issue of migration, circular migration, and the role of UNHCR in all of it. We are a bit of an unlikely invitee to this discussion because when one thinks about migration, one thinks mostly about the economic component of it or the voluntary component of it. We in UNHCR work with the involuntary component of migration, with people who have been forced to leave their countries of origin because of conflict, war, human rights abuses, or persecution. And as such, we always have seen ourselves in the organization as hopefully one organization that should disappear. If we disappear, it's good news for the world in the sense that there will be no more need for international protection of refugees because there would be no conflict or human rights abuses. Unfortunately, this organization that was created initially only for 3 years in the aftermath of the Second World War remains today, unfortunately, again, every year over more people, the mandate of the High Commissioner. UNHCR is probably more known, or some people may associate UNHCR with refugee camps or with conflict. And that has been part of our history of protecting and helping states to protect refugees. What we are not so much associated with, and probably will be more and more in the future, and I would like to focus my presentation on this, is about an organization that works actively to support governments in finding solutions for refugees. So the mandate of the High Commissioner is twofold. On the one hand, the High Commissioner has been tasked by the General Assembly of the United Nations to assist states in providing protection, but also, and equally strongly, he has been tasked with assisting governments in finding solutions for the problem of refugees. And these solutions traditionally have been grouped in 3 categories: local integration, while refugees are in the country of asylum, return to the country of origins when conditions permit, and resettlement to a third country from the initial country of asylum if the person cannot or should not remain in the first country of asylum. In the last years, there has been a big effort of the organization and of United Nations member states to empower the High Commissioner to work even more actively, if possible, on the issue of solutions. And the issue of solutions cannot be addressed separately as from the issue of asylum, because many refugees will find solutions and will be able to continue their lives in the countries of asylum and will be eventually unable to return to their own. Through the Global Compact on Refugees, the various aspects of the interaction between refugee protection and solutions are outlined. There was a very good reception to the Global Compact of Refugees by the international community, and there has been work coming out of it in the form of state pledges and in the form of a comprehensive refugee response framework. Let me try to go to narrow this in the case of Albania, and let me put as an example a new legislation on asylum in Albania. So there is a new law on asylum in Albania since approved by the parliament in the 1st of February this year, and will enter into force in the coming days as it has been recently published in the official gazette. This law puts, in our view, the right accent in terms of balancing a great part of its content on the determination of who is a refugee or who would be entitled to refugee protection, and procedural aspects, definitional aspects, while at the same time expands, and I would like to focus on this, on the possibilities of integration and the rights afforded both to asylum seekers, to refugees, as well as other persons granted international protection in the country. The composition of the flows that Albania is receiving and the Western Balkans are receiving is mixed between persons in need of international protection or refugees and other types of migrants, mostly known as economic migrants. Albania is not an exception to that. The particularity of Albania is that while during the crisis of 2015-2016 of massive arrivals to Europe, Albania did not receive many arrivals. Most of them were going through North Macedonia and Serbia and other countries. The flow has started to increase as from 2017. Let me give you some figures here to put into context. In 2017, Albania received a little over 1,000 arrivals. At the end of 2020, this number had increased to over 12,000 arrivals. And this, one has to factor in the COVID closure of borders for close to 2 months. So in 3 years' time, the flow has increased from 1,000 to 12,000. And if one takes the overall number of interceptions in the country, which is what the Albanian Border Migration Police considers, so people who may have been intercepted more than once trying to enter the country or in different places of the country, that figure and the number of interceptions last year went up to 18,000. Who is mostly coming and transiting through Albania, and we will focus on the issue of transit and staying in a bit. About 70% of them, 50% of the arrivals belong to one single country, as it is self-declared during the interviews by them, which is Syria. Then you have Iraqis, Afghanis, and then people from countries of North Africa, and then a number of other countries. In total, about 70% of those arriving to Albania are from countries with high international protection recognition rates, so are likely to be refugees. Of course, this is only determined after a whole procedure. An increased number of arrivals are women and children. Among those who requested asylum last year, which were over 2,000 persons, about 40% of those requesting asylum were women and children, and in the total number of arrivals, this figure went over close to 25%, which means that if you have to add the male components of the families, about 0.5%, somewhere between 45 and 55% of arrivals come in family groups, while the rest of the persons come as single adult male, normally of relatively young age. This gives a little bit of an idea that the flows are on the one hand really mixed, on the other hand that there is a big space to provide specialized services for persons with specific protection needs or vulnerabilities. Particularly of concern is the number of unaccompanied and separate children, monoparental families, persons with health issues, age considerations, and a number of other considerations. So far, Albania has been, as the rest of the Western Balkans, considered as a transit area for these mixed flows of refugees and migrants. And this means that the people stay for a relatively short period of time, that many of them request asylum as a way of regularizing temporarily their situation, and then they move on. And this is no different than the other countries of the Western Balkans. If you see geographically, it's very clear. Arrivals to the region, to the Western Balkans, come from a EU member state, and then the flow goes to other EU member states. So in a way, if you allow the comparison, the Western Balkans are a little bit like the central part of a sandwich between EU member states. So far, the response of the Western Balkan countries, and of Albania in particular, has been deeply humanitarian and trying to address the needs, particularly the humanitarian needs of those transiting through the region. In this context, it has been particularly challenging to build permanent asylum institutions because the system is in a way under the burden of asylum applications of people who wish to remain for a few days, but then they move on. And this brings a strain not only in terms of the capacity of a country to conduct refugee determination procedures, but also to the assistance system that the countries are able to set in place to attend to the needs of those arriving. In our view, at the regional level, in UNHCR, we need to focus more and more our attention on those willing to remain in the region. And this should be, in a way, the end game of our support to the governments, is to, on the one hand, strengthen the capacity of the governments to provide international protection and to offer meaningful integration. And here I'm connecting back to the law on asylum. And at the same time, to be able to differentiate among those arriving, those who would have an interest to remain in Albania, who would have normally an interest, as it was mentioned before by Eldisa with regards to the diaspora element. The Albania and in general the Western Balkan countries are countries where their own citizens are oftentimes migrating away. So it is very counterintuitive to think that, so some people, when we discuss this, say, how are foreigners going to come and live in Albania, how they are going to integrate, when a part of the population of the country may be thinking about leaving the country. And you may be surprised that upon counseling, because the people come normally with an idea of where they want to go. But if integration possibilities are explained to them through counseling, mostly those interested in exploring the possibility of remaining are families. And families, what we hear from them is that they've had enough of uncertainty in their countries of origin, they've had enough of conflict, and they've had enough of the fear of moving through borders without really knowing what will happen to them. Some of them have suffered along the way some traumatic experiences. Others have been abused in different ways. Others have had to resort to smuggling networks because of the impossibility to move on their own. And these persons are not all of them. Some of them are open to listen about possibilities of integration in Albania. They are looking for a space to rebuild their lives in peace and to be able to raise children in a context where conflict is not knocking at their door, as in the countries of origin. It is basically with this group of persons that we are continuously and increasingly focusing our attention, while at the same time assisting the government of Albania in managing the flows. And in managing the flows, we are not alone on the UN side. We are working together with the colleagues of the International Organization for Migration, which are, of course, according to their own mandate, supporting the government in the broader migration governance in the country, and in setting up institutions as well for the integration of migrants. So one of the things that we want to disentangle in a way in the case of Albania is that the only possibility of remaining in the country is by requesting asylum. If a person is not in a situation of international protection, therefore if he or she is not escaping or not leaving the country of origin because of a well-founded fear of persecution, the person should have other mechanisms to remain in the country. And there it is very interesting that at the same time that the law on asylum was discussed, the law on foreigners or law on aliens in Albania began to be reviewed, both of them with the aim of approximating more its content to the while at the same time keeping up its commitment or these dispositions, keeping up meeting international relevant standards. This is not going to be an easy path to pass from to help the countries of the Western Balkans and Albania in particular to go from a country of transit to a country of destination. But we think that not only the authorities are committed to it, but at the same time we think that Albania, a country like Albania, can offer meaningful integration possibilities for a number of persons escaping war and conflict. In order to facilitate this process, and I'm coming to the end of my short presentation, we have been working with authorities in a strategy for local integration, which will have its root in the new law on asylum as a legal basis, but that will also try to address the administrative inconsistencies sometimes between different bylaws or different administrative setups that sometimes, despite legal dispositions, do not bring the needed or the wanted outcome of access to rights in a transparent or in an immediate way. So we are trying to analyze all aspects of integration, the social aspects of integration, as well as the livelihoods and economic inclusion aspects of integration, and come together with authorities, with civil society organizations, and with the refugees themselves into a framework that we can, where we can foster further integration in the country. This will be paired and matched by training programs, by pilot projects that will add to what already we have been doing with the number of refugees that Albania currently hosts and asylum seekers. At the same time, we need to ensure that necessary aspects for integration, like documentation, are readily available for those willing to remain, and that assistance continues during a time until they can, on their own, start to earn a livelihood. In this context, it is particularly welcome that the new law on asylum offers the asylum seekers the possibility of legally work in the country once they have submitted their asylum application or launched the formal asylum application, and while they are waiting for an answer of the authorities on this application. So there are a number of elements that come together. And let me just conclude with one final reflection. In the case of Albania, as in the case of other countries, but I would say Albania in particular, the Albanian society remains very open to receiving people who are escaping war and conflict. Albanians themselves, as we know, have been migrating over a period of time. At some point, Albanians themselves were refugees when they were escaping persecution. There's a deep understanding in the country to the complexities of having to leave one's place. And what we find is that people decide really to remain in the country once they enter into the dynamics of the being part of local communities, and when they move to a place of their own, and they start the interaction with neighbors, they start the interaction with communities that are, at the end of the day, the ones offering very, very meaningful kind of protection and assistance to them and accompanying them in the process of integration. So our contribution to this overall discussion about migration and secular migration and Albania also as a country of where migration happens is also to remind a little bit and to share with you our efforts to have Albania increasing their capacity to integrate and to welcome refugees in the country. Thank you very much. If there's questions or discussion later, I would be happy to take the questions or participate in the discussion.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Zapata, for your really interesting overview about the situation. We have some questions, but maybe we can postpone in them the hand together with the other speakers and debate on them. Before to introduce the next speaker, Ionida Barjada, a participant shared with us a link, a video from Albanian dramatic exodus in 1991. I share the video in the chat. Now it's public, so each of you can see it. We try to broadcast the video also now through WebEx. Unfortunately, sometimes the video through WebEx are not working very well. We try. If you have trouble, if you can see for your own, it is in the chat, the link, and also the video will be uploaded on the A4EUS project. Now I ask to thank you very much again, Mr. Zapata. I ask to Cesare if he can show the video. Okay. Cesare is starting to share content. Okay. To share videos. Okay, it doesn't work the audio as we were afraid. I tried to do that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure we are able to do that because already WebEx are not working very well, but we can try again. Okay. I don't know if you can see now. I hope that the video, that you were able to see the video, because it's a really, really impressive, if I can see images. Otherwise, I invite you to see it for your own, because represent very well the drama of the Albanians arriving in Italy. I was a child. I remember some of those images on TV. Well, it's a really impressive video, so I invite you again to see it. If probably the sharing of the video wasn't so good, also the sound wasn't so good. In case you will find the video on our website, Facebook, and also you have in the chat. Okay, thank you again also for this this contributor. I ask to Jonida Barjaba, sorry for the pronunciation, to introduce, to start with the presentation. Before, just give me the time to introduce her bio. Jonida Barjada has a PhD in the Director of Integration Coordination Agreements and Assistance in the Ministry of Finance and Economy, and Lecturer of Economic at the University College Lagos. Jonida completed her doctoral studies at the School of Global Studies, the University of Sussex in the United Kingdom, and earned a PhD in 2018. Jonida holds a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from Emory University in United States in 2011, and a Master of Art in International Policy Studies from Stanford University, always in the USA. Before her doctoral study at the University of Sussex, Jonida worked as a researcher assistant at the Stanford University School of Business. In her research, Jonida has focused mainly on the migration of Albanians and the economic, social, and cultural impact of migration of the development of Albania, as well as the ethnic and formal business in the developing countries. Jonida has also published a number of articles in the field and development. So now I'm going to give the floor to Jonida. Wait. Jonida, you should be online. Can you hear me? I don't see her. Luisa, can you check that has some problems with the connection, probably?
I need to contact with Leonida this moment.
Okay. Otherwise, we can, I don't know if also the representative of the ministry, the Albanian State Ministry of Diaspora is online, in case we can skip for a moment the Ionida presentation and move directly to the Claudia Hassan Larry.
No, will be Adaila, Chief of Cabinet of Minister, to present now.
Okay.
Okay.
Is she here?
Yes, but I don't see her name in the panel, but I just speak with.
Okay, maybe we can, we can anticipate the questions that,
No.
okay.
Ada, e na limpa, ma tu è. E nuk e di atë, po I thosha që nuk, po ti as nuk komunikon dot, ai të shikon në linjë.
Okay, maybe we can for a moment wait that the past set up the connection, and I can have two questions collected in the chat. The first one is, I think, is for Eldisa, but all the speakers, also Mr. Zapata, can intervene with a flash answer about the problems of refugees. To what extent the European Union is giving you support, and how in case of a positive answer? Eldisa, I don't know if you want. Or Mr. Zapata, to represent the United Nations.
Yes, I think I can take that question up. The European Union is, I mean, there's several angles to the question of the support of the European Union. On the one hand, the European Union is one of the main donors of UNHCR globally. And as you may know, UNHCR has a system of funding where the common rule is to fund the organization, and then the High Commissioner decides on the priorities. So from our programs in Albania, a great part of them and the funds necessary to implement come from the European Union. That's one angle. Another angle is the angle of policy. And you may be familiar, or some of you may be familiar with the proposal of the European Commission on a new pact for migration and asylum that has been launched a few months ago, and that is now for discussion among member states. That pact has as well an external component where countries of the Western Balkans would fall in, and there are a number of measures of policy recommendations, and it is foreseen further support to the governments of the external dimension of the European Union. In the case of Albania, with the European Union delegation, we constantly undertake joint advocacy on some issues. We partner in terms of sharing information. they're constantly abreast of the developments, and they are very supportive of having a system in place that is able to identify and integrate persons intending to remain in Albania. So there is various levels to this support of the European Union, and the European Union remains one of the strongest partners of UNHCR worldwide, and certainly one of our strongest partners in Albania. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have another question about all the speakers can intervene. General Albanian citizens toward the refugees that are in the country. What is, of course, we don't reply in your activity. You have things Mr. Zapata, but also to Elsa.
Sorry, can you repeat the question, because the audio was cut in the middle of when you were reading it? I have a bit of a problem of connectivity now. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Now I think I can hear you. No, I cannot. Sorry, I cannot hear. Sorry, I cannot hear now. I will try to change the network. Okay? It seems that that is my problem.
Okay. 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 Luisa, I don't know if you, in the meantime, have you contacted the other speakers?
Yes, I think I'm back.
Okay.
Okay. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Well, the question is the general perception of the Albanian citizens towards the refugees that are in the country.
I think our impression is that it's a good reception and a good impression. Again, many families in Albania have people who have migrated abroad, not necessarily as refugees, but they understand the complexities of migration, and they understand the situation that many of the people who come are in. Or not even, but one good way of measuring this is that border police acts with a great humanitarian approach to arrivals, in the sense that their perspective is very much one of solidarity, of understanding of the circumstances, and of course they follow the legal procedures and so on. But the overall, starting from the border police and then the areas close to the border and then in Tirana, in general there is. Now what we have seen this year is that because of some people not staying in reception facilities and have resorted to requesting money in the streets or to selling things, there is a bit more visibility of the aspect of unregulated entry into the country, and that has provoked some concern in some, particularly in some areas where persons arriving to Albania who are not in the reception centers tend to gather. But that concern has never materialized into xenophobic reactions or of any sort. Not even in the political class, we see this kind of discourse that we see in other countries, and that's an excellent basis for building up.
Thank you. Thank you very much again. Luisa, do you have any news?
Need to give access for Ila.
Okay.
Microphone and video, because she has problem with.
Ada now is panelists.
And the second, you have here in panel Ionida Salihila, no Ionida Bariaba.
Okay.
Maybe have something wrong by you?
Yeah, I don't, because I don't see Ionida.
Ionida Bariaba, no Ionida Salihila. Maybe Ionida Salihila is one attendance, not
Okay, yeah, but I don't have a Ionida.
Bariaba?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Ada is ready.
Yeah, Ada.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, do you hear me? It's okay, everything with the connection?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me in participating in this, as well giving the possibility to introduce some of the main achievements and ongoing projects of the Minister State of Diaspora. The state policies for the Albanian diaspora are based on a document of the National Diaspora Strategy. It is a multi-sectoral strategic document approved by the Council of Ministers, and it is worth mentioning that within 3 years, 2 national strategies were adopted, which are dedicated to the speed of change. Approved 2 years ago, the National Strategy of Diaspora 2018 and 2024 was the first of its kind in the application, but her expectations were met faster than expected, and on January 2021, so this year, we have approved the new National Strategy for Diaspora, which is for the 4 years, 2021 and 2025. The document focuses on the main directions, such as the reform of the electoral system, which you all may know, the diaspora vote, and we are waiting now for the legal acts to be approved by the National Election Committee. Except of that, the other direction are the migration management and the strategy for mobilizing professionals from diaspora, and I will let you know for the project that we're going on about the brain game program, the promotion of culture and art, the investment in human capital and social cohesion, as well as the economic innovation and absorption of foreign investments. Following to the National Diaspora Strategy, the activity of state agencies, which are covered by the area of responsibility of the Minister of State for Diaspora, is in function of measurable results. The main goals of the direction are, first of all, the consolidation of the activity within the state structure engaged in the National Diaspora Strategy, the establishment of state coordination structure for the engagement of diaspora, and ensuring institutional cooperation with donors. One of the main donors that we are in close collaboration is the IOM, the International Organization for Migration, which is covered by the Cooperazione Italiana project funding, as well as the monitoring the implementation of the National Diaspora Strategy and Action Plan based on the implementation indicators and of course, all the measures which are indicated there in this document. I will introduce you the main institution which the Ministry of State of Diaspora has. First of all is the National Diaspora Agency. This institution has the status of civil administration and follows implementation of the main strategy and the action plan. Is as well the Albania Diaspora Development Fund. Is a public non-administrative institution that operates by special law, which monitors and coordinates different project program by the donor. Is the Diaspora Publishing Center, which is focused on promotion, learning in the Albanian language and spreading national culture, as well as the Center for Studies and Publication for Arbores, which is established with the main mission to deepen the study of the main old community of the Albanian diaspora, which is well known as the Arbores. We have as well established a non-governmental structure, which is Diaspora Business Chamber, to support the investment of diaspora businesses in the homeland. We as well have an established diaspora business, Albanian diaspora newspaper, as an instrument of communication and exchange of information with the Albanian community in the diaspora. is an online newsletter, and is well updated and informed with the latest information about Albanian, but not only, as well as with the diaspora, Albanian diaspora news. And these are the main agency which coordinate and organize various projects in implementation of the state policy for the diaspora, where it is worth mentioning as well some of other organisms and the project we have created and which represent the diaspora in Albania. First of all is the Coordinating Council for Diaspora. Is okay, I have an interruption. Okay. These are the 15 representatives from European Union, United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, and Turkey. They are created by law and have 1 year of activity on 18 December, which is the National Day of Diaspora. They have as well this meeting attended by the President of the Republic, the Prime Minister, as well as the Minister responsible for the interest of the diaspora. We have as well some changes on the local self-government law, which is in each municipality of the country will be established the administrative structure for diaspora and migration in the municipalities of Albania, and they will provide information and services for only focus on diaspora. We have as well, in cooperation with GIS, organized several training to increase the capacity of the local unit staff to offer the best services and information regarding the diaspora and the migration. We have as well appointed coordinating officers for the Albanian diaspora issues in the Albanian consulates in Italy and Greece. This was the first time where the Albanian country appoint representative from the diaspora in the diplomatic corps. And we have started with the pilot country because they have the majority number of the Albanian population in diaspora, which is Italy and Greece. We have as well, by the Prime Minister order, appointed several state coordinators. The state coordinators are responsible in various fields, such as driving license, the social security, and other programs of like scholarship, etc., which are responsible to lobby and to report different development regarding these fields of their responsibility. One of the main platforms that we have created, and we have nominated it as the Albanian LinkedIn, is the platform of Network of Professionals. This is a space, it's an online platform that supports and promotes the development of Albanian professionals, acting as a bridge for diaspora through the exchange of information and the involvement of different members and professional community of diaspora. This project, which is online, you can everyone can see it, and I will send you after my presentation the links of this project. Will be updated in the platform of the Brain Gain Regional Project to increase to another level information and exchange of project with the professional of the Albanian diaspora. And this project will be supported from GIZ. One of the main projects that we are still going on is the digitalization of books. We have created a library, a digital library with different classical books which are updated and have the possibility for all the Albanian diaspora to read the Albanian language book. Another project with the cooperation with the International Organization for Migration is the Diaspora for Development. We have engaged 35 experts from the diaspora in the fellowship scheme, which will be focused in 3 different levels, which is the liaison officer, in the research level, as well as in the specialist level, in the EU integration process of Albania. They will lobby and help in a different chapter of the acquis communautaire to facilitate this process and to have a real role in the EU integration process of Albania. The Connect Albania project is another one which is implementing in collaboration with IOM to support the Minister of State for Diaspora and all the businesses to support the investment in Albania. These are some of the short and very short presented projects of the Minister of State of Diaspora, which are ongoing and are very have a very targeted focus, such as the students, the brain gain process, the business and the investments from their country into the homeland, as well as the EU integration process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have just a quick question. You mentioned during your intervention the funds coming from the Italian cooperation. Do you mean the IAZA program or the Italian ministry funds?
There is no IAZA program.
Okay.
The Cooperazione Italiana program, which is implemented in collaboration with IOM. These are our main partners, and the main project that we are implementing is with IOM and Cooperazione Italiana.
Okay.
We are in collaboration with GIZ, not only for the training process of local units, which is the new law that is changed, but as well for the brain gain platform, which is a network of professionals.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your intervention. I don't see other question in the chat. Luisa, can you just give me an update about the
I have problem with the link. Now he's trying to enter.
Okay. As soon as I see her, I can give her the floor.
Yes.
We can wait a couple of minutes. Okay. I don't see her. Thank you. In the meantime, Ada shared with us the link, so all of you can see in the chat the link. I can also show you directly from my. This is the. Okay, you can see now the video. My screen. Sorry. Also the English, or is only in Albanian? Okay, received also another link. All these links will be published on the website if you agree. English version. Okay, this is the Connect Albania, an animated website, really nice. Build the future opportunities, where there's a section also for the investment. Really interesting. Also, if we have some enterprises in the consortium or in the network, on the partners network. Thank you for this share. And now, Luisa, you need I don't see her, so I don't know. I think that maybe, Luisa, what you suggest now and maybe invite you in Bulgaria. What do you think about?
In fact, she have been waiting all the time, writing to me, but don't arrive anything. She's ready. If you send now the link, it's ready to present. But sorry for this.
Okay, no, don't worry. The link. The link is in the chat, Luisa. Maybe
but she's not in the chat. Don't enter.
What? Okay.
It's waiting for the link.
Okay,
because
right.
Email don't give email from me or from you.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you send me the? Okay, I'm going to send her the link just now. Again.
Sorry for.
No, don't worry. It's happened. Don't worry. With the virtual meeting is always challenging. Sorry.
Things other Yoniada, I think is marital surname and have been.
Okay, now she should have everything again. Okay, just wait a second to see if okay. Luisa, I sent the email 3 minutes ago. Just try to ask her if Luisa, as you need get, do you need? Okay, we have Ionida.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm sorry
Welcome.
but I had
Don't worry, don't worry.
issues. So my apologies for everyone.
Don't worry, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I will give a quick introduction of myself. I am Ionida Bariaba. I'm working currently at the Ministry of Finance and Economy. I have a strong interest in migration studies, especially Albanian migration. I've completed my PhD in migration, focusing on Albanian transnational entrepreneurs. And I have also worked for several years for the Albanian state structures working on Albanian migration. Now I will give a quick presentation on the situation with Albanian migration and immigrants in Albania. Migrants and refugees are among the social groups most impacted by the COVID-19 situation and are suffering from its social and economic consequences. The pandemic has impaired the vulnerability of refugees and asylum seekers, and also Albanian migrants that are working in the other countries and working in the essential services. This is the reason why I also want to focus on this topic. Albania is a country with substantial levels of international migration. The breakdown of the communist regime that had been in place since 1944 triggered mass migration from Albania, with thousands of Albanians looking for more opportunities abroad. A large portion of migrant like Albanians, around 1.7 million Albanians are residing abroad. One is the data from 2019, which is the latest data we have for Albanian migration. With the aim of recognizing the rights of migrants and promoting and protecting these rights in the exercise of state sovereignty, Albania has migration. The consolidation of migration policies and of the management and coordination structures has always been on one of the strategic objectives of the Albanian government. And we can say that the mechanism for legal approximation and monitoring the implementation of legislation have been effective to some degree in the field of migration. Overall, with the current legislation that we have in this field, the Albanian government aims to reduce irregular migration and its costs, maximize the benefits of regular migration for all actors involved in the system, guarantee fundamental rights of migrants, fight against irregular migration, promote voluntary return, to Albania, and lastly, further encourage the contribution of migration to the country's economic and social development. The country has various governmental actors that are responsible for migration management, and the key institutions that I would like to mention are the Ministry of Internal Affairs, which is responsible for the implementation of policies and the services delivered to foreigners residing or working in Albania. They are also responsible for border management, registration of Albanian immigrants in receiving countries. And the other state that state structure that I would like to mention is the State Minister for Diaspora, which was recently created in 2017 with the aim to continuously develop and implement policies related to the development of Albania and the migrants partnership. The ministry operates under the National Strategy of Diaspora. They have also established several other state structures for diaspora engagement, such as the National Diaspora Agency, the Albanian Diaspora Development Fund, Diaspora Publication Center, and all these institutions are established by law. And they are still in the process of gaining more responsibilities related to migration. However, I would like to mention that among the efforts to improve migration policies, there is also a tendency to continually increase the number of institutions in the country involved with migration issues, but I would like to highlight that the higher number of these entities is not necessarily effective, and this is proven with the time, since they have been created since 2017. The government's efforts should be shifted toward building the capacity of institutions, of existing institutions, and improving legislation on migration in order to successfully implement their goals toward migration management, instead of just increasing the number of institutions that are responsible for migration. In addition to being considered a sending country for many years, especially since the fall of communism, as I mentioned before, Albania is also receiving a considerable number of immigrants, including migrants seeking employment, students, asylum seekers, although at a lower level. In line with its obligation under the International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of all Migrant Workers and members of their families, Albania has taken a series of measures to improve the legal, policy, and institutional frameworks with regard to migrant workers in Albania. Several legal amendments, including the law on foreigners, aim to stronger and more coherent migratory policy. The law on foreigners clearly provided that foreigners enjoy the rights and the obligations envisaged by the Constitution. As amended, the law on foreigners also guaranteed the right of foreigners who legally resided in Albania to create or maintain family life. On the other hand, the new law on asylum, adopted in 2021, brings Albania closer to international standards and EU legislation on the important issue of proper management of refugees and migrants in the country. The law ensures that asylum seekers and have access to the asylum procedures, regulates the conditions for processing their applications, and provides additional guarantees for the treatment of sensitive categories among these groups, among asylum seekers. The law also strengthens the framework for refugee integration in the hosting country, in this case Albania. Lastly, it also includes an expedited procedure for assessing asylum applications quickly when conditions, of course, are met. The mentioned legislation, like the law on asylum seekers and the law on foreigners, provide a stable legal framework that ensures not only the protection of Albanian citizens abroad, but also the protection of immigrants in Albania. According to the Albanian Institute of Statistics, INSTAT, in 2019, there were around 7,000 asylum seekers in the country, which shows an increase by almost 50% when compared to the previous year, 2018. The Republic of Albania has already an asylum system which is improving with the time and aims to approach European standards. Furthermore, the Stabilization and Association Agreement requires that the cooperation between Albania and the European Union will focus on the implementation of domestic legislation to meet the standards of the Geneva Convention and the New York Protocol, to ensure compliance with the principle of non-return of the individual in a country which poses a threat to his life, as well as the rights of asylum seekers and refugees. Recent years have witnessed an increasing flow of immigration to Albania. Foreigners residing in Albania, besides refugees and asylum seekers that we mentioned, there are also economic immigrants, there are also students, family members, and employees in humanitarian or religious activities. Going back to statistics, irregular foreigners identified in the territory of Albania or at the border without proper documentation turned out to be around 12,000 people in 2019 from various countries such as Iraq, Syria, Morocco, Algeria, Afghanistan, and other countries. Meanwhile, in regards to foreigners with residence permits in the country, there were around 14,000 people in Albania. And to wrap it up, considering Albania's vulnerability in the global migration system, the government has limited power to manage migration outflow and almost no leverage to require that receiving countries meet all the international standards on delivering services to Albanian migrants living abroad. Within Albania, however, immigration and asylum legislation has met EU and international requirements to guarantee to some degree the necessary conditions for economic, social, and cultural integration of these groups living in Albania. Lesson learned in the process of improving the legal framework is that the regular review of the of key legal migration governance is very important to identify the need to undertake legal changes that would increase the effectiveness of legal measures. Meanwhile, Albania has a very high level of ratification of international conventions in the field of migration. Special attention should be paid to their degree of implementation and the impact they have on migrants' rights. Albanian policymakers need to take direct steps to protect and empower migrants and refugees, and enable them to overcome the short-term and longer-term impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, and ensuring that no one is left behind. That's all for now. I'm not sure how we are with the timing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed for your presentation. Thank you also for your participation. I don't know if we have some questions. I see in the chat, no, we don't have any questions. I bring my personal questions, that more or less is the question that I asked to all the other speakers. Please, just a flash reply about the general perception of the Albanian citizens towards the immigration issues in general. Just really a quick reply. Thank you.
Sorry, if I understood correctly, the perception the Albanians living in Albania, they have about migration?
Yeah.
Okay. So it looked like there was a turning point in the 2000, like after the fall of communism and until 2000, there was a large number of Albanians leaving the country. And then the year of 2000 was a turning point for Albanian migration because a lower number of Albanians were leaving the country. They were looking for more opportunities in the country. But lately, it looks like migration is becoming a good option for many Albanians, especially for younger generation. It's not necessarily the conditions in the country, but somehow they are looking for more opportunities abroad. They are going abroad to study or like getting some working experience abroad, instead of looking for more opportunities in their country of origin. Also, there is a large number of Albanians focusing on a family reunion. So they are just joining their family members that are living abroad in countries such as Italy, Greece, the United States of America lately, and Canada. So family reunification is also becoming more popular, if we can say.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, the time to close we overtook the time of available for the event. I want to really thank to all the speakers and to Luisa for the organization for this great event. We reached more than 33 participants, and now 26 are connected after 2 hours of discussion that for a virtual event are quite enough. So we are very happy about all the contributions, all the speakers, about the participants, about the interaction. Thank you very much again to Luisa for the organization, and we hope to see you soon in person in Albania also, or in Italy. And I ask you to follow us on the project website to see also the forthcoming events in Bulgaria, and then in Spain, in Poland, in Italy. F4Eus continue with several events even in March and in April and then May. Thank you again. Thank you very much indeed.
Cesare, I apologize.
Yeah.
Everything good. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Luisa. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure. Bye.